And we're back again for another episode of the Huge Boob Corner. And today my guest is the very lovely Angel DeLuca.
Correct.
So thank you so much for being here, Angel.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. So, oh man, you were talking about the weather. Yeah, it's crazy right now outside.
Definitely.
But you know, Vegas weather.
Right? 97 degrees outside, possibly raining, cloudy.
I know.
Sounds about correct.
Is it supposed to be Florida here? You know,
Right?
where we get rain in the middle
When
of the
did
afternoon?
that happen?
I don't know.
Did I miss the memo?
Well, we do have our monsoon season, so
True.
it does kind of creep up on us. Like last year, it lasted for weeks. So, but again, I really appreciate you coming in, and I'm sure a lot of people know who you are. But if you just want to give a quick rundown, about yourself.
Well, I am, let's see, where do I start? I've been in the industry for 14 years now. I am Angel DeLuca, for those of you that do not know. I've done camming, streaming, content, pro shoots, a lot.
Yeah. And so I didn't realize you were in the industry for 14 years.
Yeah.
Is it crazy to say that out loud?
I mean, yeah, it just passed. July 13th of this year, it just passed of my official 14 years.
So that was the date of your first ever shoot?
My first ever time getting on cam for live camming on MFC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that was like the very first time I was like, I got this. And then I got on and I was like, I don't got this.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was like a lot.
Was it a pretty nerve-wracking thing when you first started?
Oh my goodness. It was so much because like the room filled up with so many people so quickly. Mm-hmm. Like before I knew it, I was like, okay, hi, saying hi to 1-2 guys, right? And they're like chit-chatting. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Mm-hmm. I could do this. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what happened or what, all of a sudden I just started getting hundreds and then thousands of members in my room, and
Really?
And I was like, I couldn't keep up with the chat. Mm-hmm. So I was like, now I feel like I'm being rude. I can't even answer your question.
Yeah.
So it was like a little overwhelming at first when that first happens, because you're just like, whoa, you have all these guys coming at you and being like saying these things and like being so intense about it. And
sure.
You're just like, oh, off. I did that. I lied.
We're done.
Guilty. I was like, oh.
And scene.
Okay, I got to think about that.
So what is it that got you initially into camming then?
Oh, funny story. So I had these neighbors a long time ago who wanted to swing.
Okay.
I guess swing? Yeah. That's when you completely swap couples, correct?
Sure. Yeah, swinging typically is where you're both swapping both part, or you're all doing stuff together. Yeah.
So that's what they wanted, and me and my ex at the time, we were like,
no,
thanks, but
yeah.
So then they were like, hey, check this site out. You should go on it because you guys would be so amazing on it. Mm-hmm. I was like, what's this site? And they pull up MFC, and I was like, you want me to be on a porn site? What? What? I was like completely shy and very like kind of innocent, even though like my personal life is not like that, I guess. It is kind of... Sure. It probably should be on film, but having someone be like, hey, you should go there so I could, flick my bean to you is like, oh, hi, okay. Yeah. So that's how I actually... Oh, a little bit there. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a little go. Little toe in there. Yeah. And that's how it kind of started.
And then, so even though you were a little, like, it sounds like it took a little bit for you to start to become more comfortable with it. You stuck with it, though.
Oh, definitely. So when I very first started, I actually, to this day, I'm still a never nude.
Okay.
So what that means, most people don't fully understand that, is what that means is I can get undressed. I just have to have a piece of clothing on of some sorts, like even if it's socks.
Okay.
It's just, I don't like the whole full feeling of nakedness. It's weird for me.
Oh, interesting.
So when I very first started, that's all I ever had done. Is I was just like, no, I'll just be like, oh, look, oh, look, type of stuff. And that's how it kind of escalated. And I became known as like the Queen of Teas.
Oh, okay.
So then I was like, that wasn't done on purpose, but that's just, I guess, who I am. And that's what showed.
Sure.
So that's kind of escalated from there, and I just kind of just rolled with it and went with who I wanted to be. And
yeah, and seems like with camming, like it seems like it's pretty important to have your own personality and identity because there's so many other people that are trying to get, the attention
definitely.
and the eyes. And so, and there's, for every look, it seems like there's so many different people that can fit a look. So then
100%.
Yeah. So then you have to differentiate yourself in other ways.
By just being you.
Yeah, by just being you.
Exactly. Because the best advice I ever give to anyone who wants to actually start camming, guy, girl, I don't care. Whatever you define yourself as, if you wanted to start camming, just be who you are.
Yeah.
Don't try to be someone else. You can go ahead, go watch other cams, see what it is that they're doing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But don't choose to lose your identity and try to be someone fully you're not, because then you're going to be unsuccessful, because you're going to be unhappy and it's going to be boring to you.
Yeah. And, it's interesting, too, because I've known people, like, it's interesting with camming because, I know someone who, she loved just doing the talking, like, even when they're not paying.
Yeah.
Where she'll chat them up and she'll be very friendly and engaging even when they're not paying. And I know some people don't like to do that. Some people are like, hey, you want my time, you gotta pay for it, which I understand too. So it's not like to me it's right or wrong. It's just it's interesting.
Just your choice.
Yeah, and
I feel like it is definitely a generation thing though, for sure, because I am what you would consider a veteran cam girl.
Okay.
When I started 14 years ago, that was like the thing. You know what I mean? It was to not
try to keep pushing to get them to pay?
It was to gain your fans, to gain your community, to have your fun. It wasn't all about the money.
The transaction.
Yes. Like, I have fans to this day, 14 years later, like, that are still by my side, still supporting me. They're my actual friends. Like, we talk on a regular basis.
Okay.
So it's not like a lot of people are always like, oh, cam girls are always just looking at me like I'm a wallet. Okay, but if we want to flip that, cam girls are like, well, I'm constantly being looked at like a piece of meat. So
there's objectification going both ways.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to kind of accept that and be like, it is what it is. And you yourself, no one can tell you how you feel.
Yeah.
Or how anyone else is choosing to look at you. That's their problem, not yours.
And do you feel like because you're able to make, say, a more personal connection in the beginning, that you can convert those into paying repeat, fans, essentially?
100%. Because, over the years, as I first started, I had learned at first, of course, I didn't know what I was doing. I was completely lost. I was just on my own because none of the other, at the time, I was full-blown just BBW, very larger, and like all the girls on MFC are very small and petite and very fit girls.
Yeah.
None of them wanted to help me. None of them even wanted to have anything to do with me.
Yeah.
But yet all of a sudden, I just started topping the chart every single month. And I became literally one of the most popular BBW cam models, like, ever.
Wow.
And I started paving the way and having other girls come to me and be like, it was because of you that I had the courage to cam, because, there's nothing but skinny girls. And I was like, so what? I was like, that just means there's that many less of us and other types of women, because they feel you have to be fit, you have to be skinny to be like a cam person. No, you have to have a personality and some entertaining attributes about yourself, maybe.
Yeah.
Or creativity, or it doesn't even matter. Like, I've watched people cam and play video games, like, and use, those Lush toys and stuff. Like, it's all like, I feel like when you're camming, it's all about you being who you really want to be. Yeah. Because you're about to just meet a bunch of strangers who never met you, don't know who you are. Sure. So show them who you are by being who you want to be.
Yeah.
And it made cam for me because sadly, I do not cam anymore.
Retired from it?
I wouldn't say fully retired, but it just not my main focus anymore.
Okay.
It's kind of back burner stuff now.
Sure.
Content is the main focus now.
Yes.
But as far as camming goes, I loved it. I absolutely loved camming. I loved the interaction, the meeting new people. Like, I met people from around the world that I would have never met had I not been camming. Yeah. I met people from Germany, Japan, India, like Dubai, everywhere, even Egypt, like so many places that you would be like, huh?
Yeah.
You're like, because I saw that, you were like, okay.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are always so judgy of other countries and stuff. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why? At the end of the day, we're all human.
Sure.
We all like our things.
Yeah.
Chill.
I
Let
do
everyone
think
be them.
I think big boobs are pretty universal around
Agreed.
the world.
Thank you. Yeah. It's kind of like, hey, you got big boobs. I like that.
And there are countries, like I know Japan, for instance, because a lot of the women in Japan, I don't know if you've ever been there.
No, I want
But,
to though, so
yeah,
bad.
it's amazing. I was there
saw
this
that
year.
you went.
Yeah, it's incredible. But obviously a lot of Asian women are very petite just naturally.
Yes.
And when I was there, I think I only saw maybe one or two women that were bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I've heard, from other people I know that, they've gone to Japan and they do these shooting content because it is such a unique thing there.
Yes.
That there's probably a big, demand for body types that they might not necessarily see very often.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting because I was thinking about this when you were talking about it. It almost seems like camming, because camming really started I guess you could say camming started in the 90s when the internet really kind of blew.
Kind of, yeah.
But it seems I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably have more industry knowledge than I do, just because you've been more directly involved with it. But it seems like camming was kind of that first step where performers and eventually what became creators got more autonomy away from companies, where
yes.
it became like you were directly making money off of yourself without having to shoot with a company, without having to book work.
Yes.
Through like an agent or a manager or something.
100% yes. That day, like that camming started, I feel like for everyone that has been in the actual full-blown like pro scenes and stuff, they were like, oh my God, I'm in control. Like, I may not get paid up front, but like, I'm in control. Like, I get this to say yes. I get to say no. I get to do this and that.
You get to determine your schedule. You work as many hours or as few hours as you choose.
Exactly. And it's like the most amazing thing. And like, it's like being your own boss is like right there. It shows how great that really is. You have full control over every single aspect that you do.
Yeah.
Your clothing, the way you do your hair and makeup, if you even choose to do it.
Yeah.
You could choose to have a crazy, messy room.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
But like if you just want to focus on solo stuff, you can just do solo stuff.
Exactly.
If you want to do girl, if you want to do boy, it's like...
It's all your choice.
Yeah, it's all your choice. And then eventually, obviously down the line, now we're in the age of things like OnlyFans and Fansland now.
Man.
Which
we're up there.
Exactly. and it's almost... And I'm wondering if because... I guess a big part of those platforms is fan interaction. It's not simply you're just posting content. It's
exactly.
like you're interacting with your subscribers. You're actually, because they're messaging you and you want to message back.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm wondering if maybe people that came from the cam world found it easier to I want to say go to those platforms because you're already used to that constant interaction with direct interaction.
Oh, exactly. Like, these new sites is like, for instance, ManyVids offers you like so many like options and stuff of being able to do your own stuff, and like that makes it a lot easier for us because now we can be like, you want just a video? Okay, just go buy my video. Oh, you want a subscription? Go get my sub. Go get this, and like it just these sites are like evolving to our actual needs of what we're actually needing in these sites to have our full 100% of control of our business back.
Yeah. And then it seems like it's great that you do that. I mean, obviously with the fact that they take percentages, which is understandable. They're hosting and they have operating costs.
Security.
Yeah. So, but other than that, though, I mean, giving them the percentage, the fact that there is no, middleman involved anymore with telling you, because again, and we'll segue into this, is when you actually started to shoot porn and made that jump from camming to shooting. And how did that come about?
Oh, that actually happened about 2 years, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 3 years.
Okay.
2.5-ish years after I started camming. I don't know if you've heard of the company Score.
Oh, I have heard of them.
I mean, you'd be shocked on how many people are like, the baseball thing? I was like, No, not even close. No, we're very off topic here. We're not in the same book.
Yeah. When I was 16, I asked them for a job. I wanted to work for them when I discovered.
You were like, oh.
I discovered Voluptuous magazine when I was 16 years old. I was in England at the time. And I remember in the gift shop at the hotel we were at, I saw the Voluptuous and I was like, what is that? Because I had never seen that. But I'd never seen a magazine that was dedicated to women with huge boobs. I was like, this is heaven. This is amazing. And then I got it. And then I sent them an email being like, hey, you know, what would it take to get a job there? And they were like, well, how old are you? And I said, well, I'm 16. And they're like, well, you got to be 18. Sorry. And I was like,
okay, 2 more years.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Unfortunately, I never followed it up, but no, I have heard of them. I'm sure. Obviously, a lot of the viewers have probably heard of them.
I'm sure. I'm sure they have.
So yeah, okay.
So about 2 years in, I had gotten someone coming into my live room while I was on live cam, and you know. Back then, it wasn't a thing where people actually come in and try to scam you and not be an actual like producer or like content producer, you know?
Yeah.
So like she had come in and she starts talking to me and she was like, hey, do you think I can maybe, you know, DM you really quick? I have like a business opportunity. And back then I wasn't skeptical of stuff like that because it, again, did not exist back then really.
Yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, sure. So I DM'd her and man, talk about a life-changing DM right there because she goes, you know, I just absolutely love your boobs. They're so huge. I can't get over it. And I was like thinking that, you know, she's just some girl fan. Like, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, right.
And she was just like, God, they're gorgeous and they'd be perfect in our magazine. And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
Let me reread that. What?
Yeah.
Okay, I did read that correctly. So then I was like, what do you mean your magazine? And she was like, and our website. Do you like, you know, shoot content and stuff? And I was like, well, kinda. Like, I mean, I'm like, does live cam count?
Yeah.
She's like, no. I mean, it's similar, but she's like, but like actual videos and stuff. And I was like, well, no. I mean, I barely am really learning the industry. So she goes, well, how about this? We'll fly you to Florida. We'll pay for your testing. We'll do all this stuff. And I was like, testing for what? And she was like, well, you have to be tested if you're going to come to our studio because we have other talents here, you know. And she started explaining stuff. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like reading still. And then finally, like 5 minutes into the conversation, it goes ding. And I was like, oh my God. I'm so sorry. I thought you were just like a new fan that was just trying to like be nice.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so sorry. I had no clue. I was like, I apologize. And she goes, actually, it's fine. Because I will admit, definite fan of those boobs. It pulled me in. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And so then she's like, let me get your email. Next thing you know, I think I want to say December of 2012 was my very first time that Score pulled me in for my first solo.
Okay.
Did some solo work for the neighbor.
Naughty Neighbors?
I think no, not Naughty.
Okay, because that's another one of their...
I can't think of what it's called right now, but that's where it was, and I looked all super young, and I had like curtain bangs and just.
I remember that, yeah, because that's where I saw you first was Score.
Yep. So that was like my very first professional shoot right there, and I was like, "This is so much fun."
Oh, yeah, okay.
And my director, photographer, videographer, he was this most just amazing person ever.
Okay.
He was gay, but that didn't bother me at all. Like I didn't care.
No.
I was like, ooh, my pictures are gonna be so great.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna be like, girl, you need to move your hair over there a little bit, you know? And trust, he was so on that, like just, hey, you know, your shirt's like lopsided, like you can fix it like real quick so that your boobs look even better, you know? So those little things made him just so amazing and made me feel so comfortable on my first shoot.
Nice.
And I was like, God, I hope every other single one of you is like this because you're amazing. And every time I ever shot for Score after that, 99% of the time, he was always my.
Okay. Would you request him, or they just put you?
No,
they just put him,
at first it was just like, oh, he's here again, he's here again, he's here again.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then eventually I had found out he had requested to work with me because he liked working with me.
Oh, there you go.
He was like, she's so easy to work with.
Mm-hmm.
She just does it.
Yeah.
I was like, what am I doing? He's like, exactly.
So then, because even though you hadn't shot, so did you find it pretty natural, like it wasn't very uncomfortable to be on camera like that? I mean, because you'd been doing camming for a few years now, but now you're in like a professional setting.
With someone recording me.
Yeah.
That was very different at first. At first I was like,
yeah. Well,
am I doing good? Like, is this... super awkward. And like I had model like prior to like actual like non-adult modeling experience for like years. So I knew how to model, but I was just like, I gotta take off my clothes. This is weird.
Yeah.
So I had to adjust to that with the whole never nude thing.
Sure.
Because obviously when you're getting paid for a scene, I can't be like, hey,
I'm
gonna
go
keep
ahead. My socks on?
Can I get maybe just an ankle sock or something? Just, little something.
So was that something that was probably the most difficult part to get you, was being completely naked?
100% yes. Like it didn't matter. That was always where I had to just kind of go into my little headspace and be like, I got clothes on. I'm fine. It's fine. I have clothes on. Like, so, I just had to put myself into a mindset because I didn't want it to show in my photos. I didn't want it to show in my videos. I wanted my fans to look and be like, oh, yes.
Yeah. And what's great is because since you had been camming for a couple of years, you already had a fan base to draw from. So it's like, I mean, granted, Score can pick people out of obscurity and they can just, blow up.
Right.
But I'm sure it's helpful when you have fans that are already anticipating and to see you in a different way. Because also with Score, like I don't know how, for instance, you would do your hair and makeup for Cam, but obviously they have teams and
different coins.
Yeah.
Because so for Cam and stuff, I was very natural, like how you see me pretty much now.
Okay.
This is like the extent of what I feel is good enough for makeup for me.
Okay.
Score, however, most actual professional like companies, however, feel that there needs to be extensions added into the hair so that there's longer hair, thicker hair, more to curl. And it's always curled. It's never straight, never wavy. It's always curled. And the makeup is pretty much, it literally feels like you could just take a mask off the table and be like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, there's it seems like they've I don't know if it's considered more glamorous to look that way or just maybe it pops more on camera.
It just looks better on camera.
Okay.
And also it's a lot lasts a lot longer through hot sweats and stuff and exercise. Yeah.
Well, and that's because I've known models that like same thing. They normally just don't wear very much makeup, but when I would see them shooting in Score, I'm like, God, you look so different, and it's almost off-putting because you're like,
is that her?
Yeah, right. And they would say, yeah, it felt weird, but that's what you got to do, and it's how you do it, and so and it almost completely changes who you. It's almost like it's a twin, like a heavily made up twin of you. So how was it that first time when you saw like what you had done with Score, where you were just like kind of blown away by it?
Yeah, I was like, wow, that was like so much fun. I loved the whole getting my hair, my makeup done, getting the little wardrobe, having the pretty girls. And for those of you that don't know what pretty girls are where us female talent shoot our solo pictures prior to everything happening.
Okay. Oh, so that you're not all messed up.
Exactly. Thus, pretty girls.
Yes.
Because we ain't sweaty, our makeup's not messed up, our hair ain't messed up yet.
Yeah. Well, and Score is not one of those companies that tries to highlight the after, like because some companies are all about like, let's see how messed up she got by the end of it.
Score is more, well, when I did work for them, they were more about just kind of being more a little classy about it. Like, there was facials, there was everything else in between, but the way they did it was more like, do it really neat, like just drip it there, or put it right here and just like slowly drip it down. Yeah. So it wasn't like how you were just saying where everyone's just like, explode, you're good.
Yeah,
Good job.
where it looks like you went through just like the gauntlet of sex.
Right? You just like went and grabbed that big bottle of lube and someone just and everywhere.
You got like lashes on your cheeks
dude.
and all, everything.
So bad.
Yeah.
You're just like, hi, how
Yeah,
you?
right.
It was real fun.
But you kept a pretty long relationship with them because you shot with them for a while.
Oh yeah, I shot with them for a few years actually. And then I started getting hit up by other companies and companies that were competition.
Yeah, and that did that make it awkward when that happened?
At first, yeah, because I didn't know how to really respond to that because you have one company in your ear being like, well, I'm paying you this and that and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
And then you have this other company that's like, oh, but you're new and da-da-da. And so then you have all these other little people in your ear and you're like, well, if I go with them, does that make it wrong that I was shooting for them? And as a new to the industry, you're just like, am I allowed to do that? Is that like unethical for me to do that because they're competition? But then I had ran into my first AVNs right after because it was in December. So January, literally that 2013, I ran into this woman. I cannot for the life of me remember her name because she wasn't even like, she was in the industry, but she was behind the camera type of in the industry.
Okay.
And she had told me, she was like, just do it. Just do it. Don't hold back. Just do it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
Well, and also back then, because you didn't have because now I assume you just, all the content you make is for yourself and you do it
for the most part. Yeah.
So it's like, but back then when you only had, if you wanted to do professional style shooting, companies were the only
option,
way
really.
to do it.
Yeah.
So it made more sense back then for it to be like, well, you know what? I mean, being with one company is great. And I know that there are companies that do want exclusivity to certain models.
Definitely.
So,
but that's where contracts come in.
Exactly. But if it's like, but if you didn't sign a contract, then you're not, then you're not, obligated to them to just stay with them.
Exactly.
And I mean, you'd hate to think that people would be so upset with you because again, you're doing this because it helps you and it gets you more attention and exposure.
Exactly. It's for my benefit as well. So you're like, when she said that to me, because she was just like a random, like, I think expo goer.
Sure.
And she kind of overheard my conversation with my ex. And she was an older lady. She was like, I don't care if I'm butting in. I'm old. I don't care. And when she said that, I was just like, she's so 100% correct. And then next thing you know, I ended up shooting for Plumper Pass and I became the #1 model there for years until I obviously stopped shooting. And I mean, that makes sense. If I'm not shooting, I think other girls should be taking spots.
Yeah, sure.
But
did that sour your relationship with Score when you did it?
Maybe a little tiny bit there.
Okay.
Because there was someone who did work there at the time who kind of had an issue with person at Plumper Pass. And so it just kind of, she was like, I don't know how else to explain. She was just about it. And so like anytime like Score would try to like shoot me and stuff, I would have issues with scheduling and I would like, it would just be like bad.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, whatever. And so then I just started shooting so much for Plumper,
So unfortunately, when you have like competing companies that are trying to vie for you, and then it makes it. And I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know if that person is still with Score or because I know that. I mean, what was that like?
Actually, she's not.
Okay.
Because I heard she had done that to other people.
Oh, okay.
And I'm going to just tell you a story. One time that I shot, everyone at Score was amazing except for her. Okay. Everyone else, absolutely amazing, pleasant to be around. I could be covered in some sticky substances and I could go over to the makeup artist and be like, dude, my hair, can you fix that for me really quick? Because like, I can't touch it. Oh, my eyelash is like falling and I can't touch it. My hands are dirty. And she'd be like, psh, girl, I got you. No care in the world, right? Okay. Yeah. But this woman, one time, there was me and another talent in the room. They were shooting more than one scene at once. So me and her were getting ready. She had tried on some clothes. Wasn't the outfit. So Score just puts it on, like the assistant puts it on the floor because it's touched somebody. It's not because we're obviously dirty. We did test. It's just that it's touched her. So now it's considered dirty. So they wash it.
Interesting.
It literally, you could go like this. Nope, don't like it. Take it off. And it goes into the washer, period.
That's efficient. Very.
So there was a bunch of clothes on the floor because she had tried stuff on and the director was just like, I'm not liking it. No. So there was like clothes everywhere. And so she had come in and she's the only one that has ever done this because any other time, any other assistant or any other like worker had come in, they would just do it. She went out of her way. She comes in and she just looks around in disgust at the floor. She's just like, ugh. and I'm like getting my hair and makeup done, so I'm like looking and I could see her in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then I could see the other girl in the mirror though, and she's still standing there and she's actually starting to fully get dressed now because they picked her outfit. But she's doing that straight at the girl.
Okay.
As she's like looked around and then like just looks at her, walks out, comes back with latex gloves on her hands. And then goes and picks up all of the stuff off the floors. But the way she picks it up, she goes,
okay.
As if like it was contaminated or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, you do realize that can make a woman feel very insecure. That could very much so hurt the way she looks at herself.
Yeah. And
you're acting like she's dirty. I bet you $1 million she's tested more in 30 days than you have in the last probably 30 days.
Yeah.
Like for sure. So don't come at her like that. Like that's so rude and disrespectful to like work in the adult industry and treat a sex worker like that.
Yeah.
It's like,
well, and they're in the industry too. They're there.
Thank
like,
you.
You're not,
so many people don't understand that.
like, I mean, yeah, you're behind the camera. You're not on camera, but it's like you're still involved in the work.
Exactly.
And so this idea that you're trying to act as if like you're cleaner or better seems odd.
Right.
And
it's just rude, disrespectful. And after that, I had said something, not to her.
Yeah.
Because that probably would have escalated. But I had said something to someone higher up, and next thing you knew, I was getting emailed by someone else that would normally be her emailing me.
Oh, okay.
So I had found out later on that she wasn't just like that to me or that other girl. She'd done it to other talents, and mainly just female talents.
Interesting. It's.
I mean,
well,
clearly she shouldn't have been in the industry.
Probably. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Judgmental.
Yeah.
No good.
So then at what point did you stop shooting for companies and focused more on your own stuff? Or was there like
let's see. So once I started shooting in 2012, I shot straight for like years.
Okay.
Like just year after year, pretty much for the next like 4 or 5 years, I shot straight.
Okay.
And during that time, I had shot for multiple companies, all the big names that BBWs could shoot for at the time.
Yeah, Jeff's Models and Rodney Moore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I had just kind of blown up with like very quickly and very unexpectedly because that's not what I anticipated from it. When I decided to finally shoot my very first boy girl is when like all of a sudden, like I was already gaining popularity and like true fans and supporters, but then I did boy girl and all of a sudden it just was like, and I was like, holy crap, there's so much. It was so overwhelming. And I ended up winning multiple different awards from different companies. My biggest award was obviously my AVN win in 2017, which unfortunately was the very last BBW Performer of the Year award.
Yeah, before it went to a fan-based award?
Correct.
And it's just kind of shunted to
what is it, niche? Something
niche,
like
yeah.
niche, yeah.
Well, and they don't even like, you don't even get, if you win, you don't even get to go on stage.
No.
You just
Exactly.
It's like the technical awards for the Oscars.
Exactly.
It's almost
They're
like a different.
yeah. And then we forgot about that one. We got to give them one award,
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, after that, I had won. And then all of a sudden, I had all these talents that never wanted to shoot with me before, didn't want to follow me on Twitter, didn't want nothing to do with me. But all of a sudden, AVN winner, and now everyone's like, oh my God, hi, Angel, hi. Do you remember me? No, I don't remember you.
Is that interesting?
It was so much so that, like, unfortunately, it made me retire for a while because at the time I was not in the best of mental health state.
Yeah.
And then how overwhelming everything became, and I was in a lot of denial that I didn't need to go and fix my mental health.
Yeah.
So it all just was so overwhelming. I was like, bye.
Yeah.
I can't do this. I'm like, I'm not mentally strong enough. And I was like, I'm not going to be mentally there to give my 100% to my fans that deserve that.
Sure.
So I was like, I unfortunately need to step back. I need to get help for my mental health and get my, get my thoughts straight so that I could like actually work and not feel unfunctioning and like overwhelmed and starting to not like the industry.
Well, I was going to say, what triggered that? Was it just the fact that because before when you started it, we were like, oh, this is fun and I'm doing this and this is great. But now that you have so much more attention on you and you have all this stuff, it's like people that become really famous, whether it's in Hollywood or now social media, if you go viral, like it seems as if because fame is a really difficult thing to navigate.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
It's real heavy, especially when you're doing it by yourself.
Mm-hmm. And when you know that people only care about you because of how they can benefit off of your success.
Yeah.
And that can weigh heavily on your head.
Oh, 100%. Because you're sitting here being like, I put in all these years. I put like by 2012 to about the 2017 mark, I had made like, I think it was like over 100 some odd videos. I worked my ass off literally to get where I was, to get my recognition, to get everything I had.
Yeah. And
I did it on my own. My ex helped from behind the scenes with certain stuff.
Sure.
But as far as like performing and doing everything, that was all me. I put so much hard work and effort into that. And to have people who were there before I had got there wanted nothing to do with me, I'm like, you guys are dirty. So anytime I don't want to like say this disrespectfully, but I don't know how else to say. Any time I had someone that was less known or less famous or popular than me come to me and be like, hey, do you want to shoot? Or, hey, do you think this or that? Or do you think you could give me advice? Or whatever it was. I would be all for it. I was all like, if I am sitting here as a sex worker attacking other sex worker for them just doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing.
Sure.
We're supposed to be asking veterans how to do this so that we can continue it, make it better, and improve it.
Well, and everybody has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
But
so many popular, more popular porn stars or more popular cam girls are honestly, they're pretty snooty and pretty conceited.
Yeah,
and they really, truly do not want anything to do with helping someone else be successful.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself that that's like the ultimate gatekeeping right there.
And isn't it funny how that happened? Like people would think that that's only say something in Hollywood or other things, but it's like I think that's just human nature.
It is
you want to put yourself in a position where you feel superior to other people.
Yeah. And
then you're like, well, I'm this person and you're that person. I mean, the fact that, for instance, I'll use this show as an example. I mean, this is a new show, and obviously, eventually, I'm hoping it'll grow into a pretty big show, a pretty successful show. But there's gonna, but again, in the beginning, I get that there's probably gonna be models out there that will look at me and be like, well, why are you worth my time? You've got a very small following. And again, I don't begrudge them that because it's their choice. And I don't want anybody to be on the show that doesn't want to be here.
Of course.
So and all I can do is ask. But the fact, I've already had some amazing people in here that I am truly thankful that have been industry veterans that have had these amazing careers and they've trusted me to come on the show, which I like, and you being another one of those.
Yeah, we met a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the first time we met?
My Halloween party.
Yes. Oh, I wasn't sure if you remembered that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Back, I think that was 2018.
God, that was so long ago.
At that house, that was.
Shh, you're telling our age.
I know, right? But yeah, well, because because there were definitely a good amount of people there, and I think we had met briefly. I don't know if we actually spoke to each other, but
what had happened is we were Twitter followers for a while.
Oh yeah.
And then we kind of just started chatting because you were like just you.
Yeah. Well, and I have dabbled in the industry
exactly
in certain ways. Unfortunately, my abilities are probably not as strong in those areas, which is another reason why I wanted to do this, because I feel like this is a much better use of my strengths.
Yeah.
Is just talking and
hey,
stuff like that.
There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Well, I appreciate that. So, but yeah, I was surprised because I was thinking to myself, should I bring it up because again, and that's not to say that you might not have remembered me from that, but because I just figured, it was a busy night and there were a lot of people there.
No, shockingly, you did make an impression enough for me to actually remember you.
Interesting. Okay.
I know that that kind of sounded really bad. That's not how that meant to come out. But I've met so many people, like thousands of people over the 14 years that, so you have those certain people that kind of just stick in your head.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm glad for however I did that. Personally, whatever. I'm happy that you did, because I'm wondering I don't know if that informed your ability to do the show, because you had already I was kind of already in your head as
definitely
I knew him. So
yeah, and we still, again, you were following me before my first Twitter got my very first Twitter.
Yeah.
So we've known each other for a minute, and I was like, I know he's not that dude that's just trying to be that dude.
Yeah. Well, and the time, it's like, for me, if people say no to being on the show, I don't get angry and say, oh, well, you're gonna.
I mean, you did that for me when I had let you know, what was it, like at least a month ago, correct?
Yeah, and you said you had to figure some stuff out. And you had to deal with some stuff.
I started going to, my therapy, and therapy is absolutely the most amazing thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Words are hard today. And I actually got the therapist through Pineapple Support.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, and I've been going to her, and God, just, really, you don't understand how big of a difference it really makes doing stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because now look at me a month later. You hit me up. I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got it out. I'm like, I needed it and didn't know it.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing I just want everyone to know there's no shame in asking for help and reaching out. Nothing.
Well, and it's really important because, especially in the last 5 years, I don't know if you probably noticed this too, but there were so many suicides in the industry.
So many.
A lot of them probably due to mental issues.
Agreed.
And
being afraid to reach out.
Yeah. And every time it was just so tragic because, and some of these were like massive stars. Like, these weren't maybe they got into it a year ago and it just wasn't working out. It was like, no, these are people that had lots of success that started before you did.
But that just goes back to why in 2017, why I retired.
Yeah.
That amount of when you aren't expecting it. Mm-hmm. It's one thing when you're like, I'm going in and I'm going to be the number one. Everyone's going to know me.
Yeah.
That's totally different. You going in like that. Your mindset is different.
Yeah.
But when you're going in to be like, this is really fun. I really like this. And it's really good money. Like, I can not have to work at my stupid cashier job anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get all these other things that start and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. Well, and also, and this is another factor for some people with, say, substances. So whether it's drinking or drugs, and not to try to play too much into that stereotype, because that's so many people try to think that. But here's the thing. Any industry where you have money and success, those kinds of things are going to be there.
Oh, 100%.
And so, and unfortunately, because how part of me doesn't want to ask this, but
now you have to.
However old you were when you started in your first scene, right? Would you say, and you have to say how old you were, but would you say, because if you're starting in this industry 18, 19, 20 years old, you might not have the kind of life experience that can prevent you from being able to say no.
No, I fully understand that, because I feel like the younger, newer talents coming in, newer cameras that are coming in that are more 18, 19, 20 years old. I remember how I was when I was 18, 19, and 20. Man, let me tell you, I was definitely not using this. That's for sure.
Most of us don't.
I was like, oh, man, that's some this and that. And it I wasn't thinking for my future.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like, I feel like when all of that happens and it all comes in, I think that's where that pressure starts like building up.
Yeah.
And like overwhelmingly overfills.
And that's something. And again, I'm not trying, and I hope people understand, I'm not trying to reinforce negative stereotypes because there's so many that people outside of the industry have for the industry, thinking that all the girls have been, you know, mistreated or abused, and that's the only reason they've gone and done this.
Like I always got told, they're like, oh, you have daddy issues, that's why you're a cam girl. I'm like, I might a little, but that's not why I'm a cam girl.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's almost insulting. It's like, I can't choose this for myself.
I know, exactly. But like as when you're that young coming in, you do whatever, you're like, oh, this is great. And you're not really thinking. Yeah. But I actually started when I was 21. Okay. My first time camming, I was 21 years old. Oh, okay. I actually turned 21 that month. Okay, okay. And even then, I still was like, wow, wow. Like to this day, now that I've been in the industry, now that I've done this, now that I've seen what this industry is and can be, I have always said that I feel that everyone should be 21 and older in this industry. Okay, yeah. Because I'm sorry, what we encounter, what can happen, there are pros and cons. And some of the cons are not very great, especially when you're so young and you're so naive and you're just like, all money oriented and your brain is just like money, money, money. I'll do it. It's fine. I'm young. I'll recoup. I'll bounce back. But that's just it, is that's going to be out there forever. Well, and the thing is like now, especially because with platforms like OnlyFans, I mean, now you can start an OnlyFans and you can start making money super fast. Oh, yeah. And it's almost like, because, I mean, I don't know, because when you were camming, I mean, you had to build an audience back then, right? Like, I mean, you probably made money from the get-go, but I don't know if it took a while for you to get to that point where you could support yourself with it. No, yeah. My first month, I quit my job. Oh, okay. So it wasn't instant, but it was instant enough. Yeah. I mean, compared to, other jobs. Sure. So, within your first month, if you actually dedicate it and the time and the effort and, you being you and not trying to be others. Yeah. You actually can be very successful in this industry. It's just that you have to find that one little thing that makes you stand out from everybody else, Yeah. That's the hard part. That's like now versus then. Oh my God. And then so easy to start to be found, to grow your fan base, to grow your community. Well, but now it's so overflooded. It is very difficult for not just, our side, but also the fan side of actually finding what they really want. Yeah. Because there's sadly a lot of scam girls. True. Yeah, I think there was a woman maybe a month or two ago that put out a post that went, I think, at least viral on sex industry on sex worker Twitter. Yeah. Because there's all those sub Twitter genre, or now X, but that it's where you have this group and this group and this group, where a woman was like, who, I don't know if you saw this post, where she was like, you do realize that you're not actually talking to the woman, right? Where it's just basically either an assistant or a guy who's running the thing for them, and you're not actually talking to them directly. And then you had all these other, models saying, no, that's not how I do it. But then again, there might be some people out there that is what they're doing, and you won't know. Exactly. Like, so it's just so sad to watch what camming has turned into, to be honest. And that's really why I have turned away from it, because it's just not the same anymore. Sure. It has it didn't even do a 360. It's not even, it went on a whole nother adventure to another universe. Yeah. And I'm just like, is it because I'm getting older? And I'm not understanding that anymore. I'm pretty sure that's not it though. Yeah. I'm I know I'm getting older, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. And it's just that versus the way that all of us veteran cam girls actually cam, versus if you were to put the new generation cam girls, if you were to put us in the same cam room, split cam, right? You're going to see absolutely two universes. Okay. Because the way that veterans cammed was, you hit my goal. You want it, you hit my goal, period. Oh, you want me to show you? You want me to do that? Okay, then use my tip menu. Yeah. I'm not doing this for free, because back then, the fans understood, and they weren't entitled as much now. Okay. they understood that that was our jobs.
Yeah.
And they weren't like, mocking it and be like, go get a real job. Of course, we had some of those.
Yeah.
But for the most part, the fans understood that, like, in order to get what they wanted, we had to get what we wanted.
Sure.
Simple as that. No rocket science behind it.
Yeah.
Now I see all these newer cameras and I'm just like, why are you naked already? You got like 2 tokens. That's 10 cents. I'm like, you wouldn't go to a strip club and just be like, I'm on the pole and be like, what? I'm naked now.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm just like, I started seeing that there's all these articles all over the internet that are done by other cam models. And I'm like, bull crap that they are. Because the advice that they're giving is something that a fan would give to a cam model.
Yeah.
That's new, that has no idea. So the advice is log on cam naked. You'll get tipped. But why would they tip you now? They don't have to.
Yeah.
So now you don't even have like the ability to tease them to be like, come on, guys, let me, you know? It's just there.
And that's different from you, say, just engaging initially with just talking. Because if you're talking with your clothes on, you're still, you're engaging them and you're creating a connection.
A connection, a community.
But then once they get to that point where it's like, okay, now I do want to see you naked.
Exactly.
Now, okay, if I'm going to, I
now
understand.
I know you're worth tipping, and now I know you're worth helping that goal for.
Yeah. And they probably will feel bad if they don't, because like I've established a connection with this person.
And exactly.
You know, I know that this is a person, this is a human being that also needs to make a living, and it's not just about getting me off, it's about there being mutual benefit, you know,
two-way highway.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
So yeah, that's got to be really interesting. So, but the fact that you still make content right now.
Yes, I do.
So
but I'm very exclusive now.
Okay.
I am only on ManyVids and a new site called Unfiltered.
Okay.
Unfiltered, actually, I just recently started using in the past like 2 weeks, but they offer so much there that like, it's like a cam site, a content site, a streaming site, an auction site, multiple tier subscription site.
Okay.
And it's just like so much that they give you to, and it's ran by a sex worker. She's the CEO, and it's for the sex workers.
Yeah.
You know, they obviously are fan member oriented to like focus on them, but their focus is on what we're as content creators and talent, what we need to perform properly for our fans to be able to get what they want from us.
Sure.
So like I have cut down to that because like I had noticed being spread out all over and having 10, 12 different sites and having to keep up on there and then over here and over there. I was like, you know what? I have adjusted myself so much that I've lost who I am because I'm sitting here going on every single site because I have 5 fans over here that are like, hey, can you sign up here? Because like, I don't want to go sign up there.
Sure.
And now as being older woman now and also just being in the industry now I'm like, you need to stop being lazy, you know whaty, and you need to get up off your booty and go over to where I'm at.
Yeah.
Period. It's a simple sign up for you versus me. I'm having to go and upload 10 videos to 10 different sites because you're all being too lazy.
Yeah.
And I don't care how mean that sounds because at the end of the day, it's true. You're being too lazy to support your favorite porn stars, cam stars, whatever it is for you. If you truly are a fan, you go where they are.
Well, and every platform has, you know, their requirements for releases, for tagging, and it's like if you have so many that you have to keep track of, you're like, man, uploading to all these sites takes all this effort.
So much. Like
it's
before you know it, you're working already your 40, 60 hours for your content creating, your networking, your marketing, your promoting, all of that.
Yeah.
And then you have, for some of us, like for me, I edit all my own content. So then there I go adding another 20 to 40 hours because I'm very bad at editing.
Oh, okay.
So there goes another 20, 40 hours added into my week on already top of. So now I'm sitting here at like 80 hours a week.
Yeah.
And people are like, you don't work.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I'll switch your 40-hour week for my 80 hours, okay?
Yeah.
On top of the fact with your guaranteed pay.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you go home, you don't have to most of the time work.
Exactly.
Like your job is your job, and you're working. You work. Yeah. Whereas it's like the shooting is almost the easiest part because that takes. I mean, assuming the kind of scene you're suing,
yeah,
if it goes smoothly, it's like okay, the shooting might last an hour, hour and a half, but then it takes hours to edit it and do everything.
It's a lot.
So, So I wanted to segue real quick because the nature of the show, talk about some boobs for a little bit if you're cool with that. So even though, I mean, obviously we could keep going, but we only have an hour. But anyway, so did you always have because your boobs are natural?
Yep.
Yeah. So did you always have big boobs, or did you when you gained weight
Shoot, I have honestly, since I could remember, I've had big boobs.
Okay.
Like it started probably back in like sixth grade when the boys were mean and being like, "Oh, you stuffed." No, I didn't. So I've had them honestly, even when I was a little skinny twig.
Okay.
But as I did gain weight, though, they did obviously get bigger.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, as you can see, I have recently just lost 40 pounds.
Okay.
So,
but they're still. I mean, they're still.
No, I'm still up there.
They're still there.
They're still not a Victoria's Secret size.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
I still can't go Victoria's Secret. So.
Yeah. As long as you're larger than their sizes.
Oh, by far.
Yeah.
I'm still at least a good 4 or 5 cups away from them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I wish though.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've had them since I can remember. And the funny thing is, I don't know where they came from.
Really?
I'm the only one in my entire family.
Really?
Entire family.
So it's not genetic. It's just kind of a...
My mom always jokes with me and she's like, clearly you're adopted. I'm like, you're so messed up, Mom. Because I look like my mom and my dad, so I know I'm not. But like, she jokes with me and I'm like, well, that's messed up, Mom. And she's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
And then one day, my Japanese grandma goes, it's because you're Japanese. And I was like, what? I was like, no.
Yeah, that doesn't track.
1 + 1 is not 5, Grandma.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's because you're Japanese. And I was like, you need to explain yourself right now, because what?
Yeah.
Because every one of our family of our Japanese side is very flat. No offense towards them, but they are very flat, both front and back.
Yes.
And my grandma's like, yeah, well, there's actually this gene that skips multiple generations and hits random like generations. And I was like, Grandma, no, you're messing with me. She's like, no, I'm being actually dead serious. So she went back and she showed me, and she grabs old photos. Mm-hmm. She went back 5 generations of pictures back.
Wow.
And my, whatever she is, my great grandma or something like that, had humongous boobs. I'm talking like when you see those really like this, but you're like, those are so fit. No, they were real. And she was super tiny and little petite, and she was only like 5 foot.
Wow.
So my grandma was like, I'm not joking you.
It sounds...
It skipped everyone else. You got lucky. And I was like...
That sounds, because you've probably seen that model Hitomi, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I met her.
Okay, yeah. And she's obviously very
she's
very
one
small.
of them.
Yeah. Very small reincarnation of your great grandmother.
Right?
But yeah, because I know that she's got a very tiny frame, but that her boobs just are enormous on her frame.
Beyond enormous. Have you ever seen her in person?
I've never seen her in person. I feel
so bad for you.
I feel bad for myself.
I feel bad for anyone who never got to meet her before she retired.
Well, but not quite, because she a little while back she did some stuff with Angela White. So I don't know if you saw that, but at least they posted, because Angela was in Japan, and so they did some.
Okay.
So there was some stuff there, which if you look on Angela.
Like,
maybe, because the nice thing about that industry is you can always dip your toe back in if you want to come back.
Definitely.
Like you never quite can close the door the whole way.
Yeah, no, she's so sweet though.
Oh, she seems
she
like
didn't
it.
speak a lot of English. She did have a translator.
Okay.
But she's extremely tiny. Like she's so much smaller in person than you see her on like film.
Yeah.
In person, she's like super short, and like her frame was so tiny. Like, this is all I saw from the front.
Yeah, her boobs are
all
so
I saw
large.
from the front was just big old boobies. And I was like,
I mean, do you like women with large breasts? Or is it kind of...
Actually, I'm very opposite. I actually like dykes.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
100% into very dykey women.
Okay.
Like, the less boob, the better for me.
Interesting.
The more booty, the better.
Interesting.
I'm a booty person.
Okay. So, that's, I mean, I guess that, you know, that makes sense because, you know, you might want somebody that is completely the opposite of what you are.
You know, a lot of people say that. And it, you know, I want to say that it definitely involves that because like, I'm like, I could, they're right here. If I want to play with them, I'll play with them. You know?
You got your own, yeah.
Exactly. And then I'm like, also, I just know the struggles of them.
Sure.
I know the cons to them. And so I've just never really been like, I love boobs. They're freaking great. Like, like when they're nice and big, I'm like, ooh, I just want to poke you right there. Just want to poke and jiggle. You know, love it. But I just, something about me, for me, it's just a nice little handful of a small boob and a big handful of booty for me.
Nice. Oh, man. But, I mean, so, I mean, have you enjoyed having large boobs for the most part, or is it something that you've maybe had a mixed relationship with?
I would say definite mixed feelings about them.
Okay.
You have your days where you're like, God, I love you. You're so amazing. And then you have your days where like, could you just pack up and get out, please? Because I don't want nothing to do with you today.
Yeah.
So it like really just depends because some days you're like, God, you look so good. That top looks so good. It feels so great. But then you have those days where just nothing fits you, nothing looks, and you're just like, it's your fault. It's your fault. Because like, I can't get the cute bras. I can't have the cute little halter tops because my boobs are too big and heavy.
Sure.
And I like to have some kind of support.
Yeah.
They're heavy. They hurt.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
You know?
What were the biggest they ever were?
Oh, God. I think I was, let's see. I want to say I think the biggest I ever was like a K.
Okay.
No.
Or?
Yeah, it was a K.
Okay.
I had to like redo that math in my head because the European versus American is very different.
Yeah.
Like in American, I'm like way bigger. I'm like, or smaller, I mean. I'm like, that doesn't make sense.
Well, also because they measure in I think centimeters in Europe, so it's like you're like a 90 like something and you're just like, whoa, that seems
like, okay, wait.
What's the conversion on that as opposed to a 36?
Give me those inches. I need to know.
Yeah. So I imagine trying to get bras from Europe is a very different experience than trying to get bras in the United States.
Shockingly, I tend to only get from Europe. They tend to be more catering to large breast women.
That's interesting.
Apparently because, you know, no hate towards fake boobies. But in the US, a lot of girls have fake boobs. So in reality, there's not really a lot of like bras that are catered to real big boobs.
Okay.
Like actual natural boobs because we have weight to our boobs. We have different shapes versus fake boob is very up there and round and pretty much holding itself up.
Yeah.
So like the bras just aren't the same. But European bras are like, because a lot of European women have big boobs.
Oh, yeah.
And natural. So their bras are way more catered to us and they actually fit us better and they're cute and they're not this grandma freaking
like they're
beige bra
covering they're covering you
that
all
are
the way
like
up to your neck.
Here and thick old straps, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just like, why you gotta do us dirty like that? I don't care if I have big boobs. I want a cute bra.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and it's weird because, and I've talked about this with other guests where it's just like, it seems as if why wouldn't there be an American manufacturer that there is a market for it.
A big market.
So, you know, no pun intended or.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it seems odd but then again, yeah, when I see, you know, so many of the women that I follow that have, you know, the huge natural ones, they're, you know, Russian, Ukrainian, Romanian, like Eastern European. There's something in their water that just makes them massive out there.
Maybe I am adopted.
Yeah, right.
Like,
so,
Mom.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm Irish, Italian, Japanese, German, and Croatian. So I do have European in me. So I'm pretty positive my Japanese grandma just wanted it to be that.
Yeah, right.
Although she's like, no, it's our side. We did that.
Which I don't even know if you can check genetics for something like that.
I don't think so.
Because I feel like that's so specific.
I know, but my grandma, like, she's full-blown Japanese. Well, she passed away. Okay. She was full-blown Japanese, and the way she did her, like, I swear to God, that organization was just like an OCD person's like heaven.
Yeah.
So when she went back those 5 decades to be like,
it's this. Yeah.
Versus, I'm pretty positive it's because I'm part European.
Yeah, right?
I'm just like, sorry, Grandma.
But at least you let her, finish out her life thinking that it was from that genealogy.
It wasn't my European side at all.
Right. Yeah.
That
right.
literally is like more than 90% of my genes.
Yeah. Let her have that dream to the end.
Just you can have it. It's fine.
So, but no, I mean that's interesting that you have that as your background in terms of to draw from, because I mean, do people even realize that like there is that Japanese part?
Actually, most people think I am Latina.
Interesting.
I'm like, and I'll get so many people just start speaking Spanish to me, and I'll be like,
yeah.
Can you slow down a little?
Yeah.
Can you go back and say that like 10 times slower?
Yeah.
And maybe a little bit more white?
Yeah.
And then they'll look at me and be like,
what?
You don't speak Spanish? And I'm like, I'm extremely white. I'm sorry. No.
No.
Like, I can understand like this much of it. And when you're speaking this slow, and looking me directly in the eye,
it'd be funny if you actually if you spoke Japanese and you responded in Japanese to them, and then they'd be like, whoa,
I think
where did that come from?
What just happened here? Did we?
Yeah. So, anyway, all right. Well, unfortunately, I feel like we gotta end our time, but I want to say a big thank you. It had a lot of fun. I hope you had a lot of fun.
Definitely.
And definitely would want to have you back at some point if you want to come back again. So, and actually, also, I don't know if you wanted to, promote anything, plug anything, or if people already kind of know.
You just go to angeldelucafans.com.
Okay.
And you can find literally everything.
Okay, great. So, again.
That's one thing I learned to do.
Really?
Make my life easy. Your site link to like a link tree or all your link theme.
Yeah, nice. Yep. So, all right. Well, again, Angel, thank you so much for being here.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
And I just want to say again to all of you out there in Huge Boob Land, we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.